let's move on here. I really wanted to start talking about. I came up with this theory yesterday. So literally in the middle of the day, I came up with this theory, and I wanted to show it on, or I wanted to talk about it on the show, especially for those people listening or those people watching. Um, it's we are in the middle of we are basically living in the middle of the peak of this rivalry, right? Between Sony and Microsoft. We see it, we hear about it. Everyone in the gaming world knows about this huge war, this console war going on. We had a debate before the new consoles came out. Um, so right now, I think it is the peak of this war, and I'll tell you why. Right now, we got the PlayStation 5 versus the Xbox Series X. It's the Xbox Series X is Microsoft's fourth console, Xbox Series 60, Xbox One, and then Xbox Series X. Both sides are insanely popular, and obviously each side has its major advantage versus the other side. Sony has been the clear winner in going up into 2021, and they've just kind of, in terms of consoles units sold, Sony has been far ahead of Microsoft. But obviously, Microsoft's making the right moves to basically step over Sony and take the lead. It may not happen anytime soon, but I'm going to start connecting all this stuff where my theory was going here. So let's take a step back. You got this console war going on. Each side's trying to win. Yeah, let's take a step back and look at the big picture of where video games are heading. And as time goes on, you remember when cross-platform was like nothing. You remember when cross-platform was like the worst. Like if you try to play a game against a Sony gamer and you're an Xbox person, it just never happened. Both sides hated even talking about cross-platform because why would they want to give up players for the other side? It's the cross-platform was a thing in the past, but now what we are starting to see is more and more cross-platform games starting to come out. What was considered to be absolutely no discussion is turning into a thing that's impacting all the gaming lives. And, we're seeing tournaments. Tournaments have cross-platform. Major games are allowing cross-platform. Games are being designed for cross-platform alone. So, where does this lead down the road? And I'm not talking short term. I'm talking about 1 to 2 years. 15 to 20 years down the road. We're talking long term where it's going. We will begin to see, and we're already seeing it, but we will begin to see a universal console that you will be able to play any game. It's basically what a PC is today. You can basically play Sony games, you can play Microsoft games. In the long term, cross-platform is going to basically control the gaming, and a universal console will be the future. I don't know about Nintendo, but go ahead.
I'm just saying, how can you get Microsoft and Sony to combine their units together to make one system? Hey, you're Sony, I'm Microsoft. You want to make one console together to where they can play both of our games at the same. Well, why would I do that?
Yeah.
I'm making more money than you guys are. That's tough to say, man.
It is.
That's tough to say.
But what we're gonna see is Microsoft's gonna get away with Xbox in 15 to 20 years. I'm not talking about next year or 5 years. 15 years, there won't be a console. There will not be a Microsoft console. We will see a Microsoft console that's a PC. These consoles are just going to turn into PlayStation, or not PlayStation. These consoles will turn into PCs that can play any game you want. So let me make my connection here, and then you could probably you can see where I'm going here. I'm going to transition into my point. I think Microsoft has been aware that is where the future of gaming is going to lead. It's going to be basically a universal console that will basically have all the games working on any console you want. There won't be any advantages picking one or the other. Whichever one you pick, you'll have those games. The money, Microsoft knows this, and the money making will all be in the hands of the game studios. The developers will be the money makers. They will be the giants in the gaming industry in 15 to 20 years. And you think about it, what has Microsoft been doing lately? Over the past few years, Microsoft has been buying up game studios because they know in the long term, when this starts to happen more and more, who's going to control all the money? Microsoft. And they obviously just bought ZeniMax, so they own that one. They've over the past few years they've bought a handful of other studios, and that is why they're doing it, because they know who cares about like the consoles at some point. It's all going to be in the hands of these studios making the games. And if Microsoft can own 60% of the major studios, they'll
dominate.
they're set.
Yeah, they'll dominate.
Gaming's going to be a crazy different year and a crazy different world down the road for gaming. And I think Microsoft has been aware of this and has been slowly purchasing these studios. Nintendo has caught on because Nintendo is slowly starting to buy these studios as well. I hate to break it to the Sony fans. If Sony doesn't catch on and do something soon, they are going to start falling way behind in this console war. And, down the road, Microsoft, I think, will be the clear winner.
Sony is still struggling with having a hard time making sure their consoles don't overheat.
They're worried about that too. You see that they claimed that they sold 4.5 million consoles last year.
They didn't even make that, man.
Exactly.
How do you create
Well,
numbers that you don't have?
Their earnings report comes out, I think, in 5 days, and that's the rumor. But
wow.
anyway, I had to talk about it on today just because I was like, what? If you think about it, that we've talked about it, that is where gaming, Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo will probably all start purchasing these studios. And
Microsoft for sure. Microsoft's already on top of that.
Yeah.
I can see them. I mean, Phil Spencer has mentioned that they don't think that they'll make a new console after this one. After the Xbox X and Series S.
Yep.
They don't know if they'll even get into another one, which makes me think that they'll do something kind of like Google Stadia. To where they'll just do xCloud.
So
and kind of make something to where you just have something like this big, plug into your TV with a controller, and you're literally just accessing their servers for their games.
That's what it's going to be.
And this is just all going to be like 3 terabytes.
Sure,
That's all you need. You know what I mean? To download the games.
Again, so when it comes to that point in 15 to 20 years, okay, so maybe I worded it wrong. I said universal console. It's going to be online. It's going to be digital. It's going to be like Stadia. It's going to be like xCloud.
Yeah.
At that point, the game studios are the money. That owning the studios, owning the developers will be the future. They will be the giants in the long term. And Microsoft is starting to buy them up.
I want that now.
I want that now.
I mean, Bethesda was a massive company before the purchase.
$7.5 billion.
I mean, to think that... Now, here's something with when bigger companies come in and buy your company, a lot of the time they get rid of maybe 15-20% of the staff to make room for the people that are really the headhunters there at Bethesda.
Yeah.
Do you think that's something that people at that company are going to be worried for? Like, dude, with this new purchase, am I worried to not have a job?
See, I think since it's a gaming industry, they shouldn't have to be worried about that. They know. Now that Microsoft bought them out, I think they're adding job security to those workers, because now they're like, look, even if we're in a slow time, we're gonna have a job. Microsoft's gonna dump money into us and let us basically develop and give us the money to develop these games, because ZeniMax is Microsoft's start of the future, and if they can really take off with this ZeniMax acquisition, Microsoft's in a good position.
Well, you got to think about how CG Projekt Red was. They tried to do it, and they were working on Cyberpunk for 7, 8 years, and they still managed to screw the pooch.
Yes.
They have had 3 updates and glitch fix.
Yeah, and just for those who are tuning in, we got about five people in here. Anyway, just for those who are tuning in, 5 new people. We're just going over the future of gaming. That's what we're discussing right now. So, sorry.
No, you're good.
I just saw some new people, so I was like, all right, might as well talk to them. So, yeah.
We need to take attendance. Who's in class right now? That's funny.
But, I think it's added job security, and, I haven't heard of Sony making any of these major moves.
There's
Sony's worried about now, and that's one thing. But to win a chess match, you have to think what's going to happen. You have to start thinking ahead. This is a big chess match, and Microsoft, I think, is making the right moves.
There's got to be something where they have to have contracts that say minimum 3 to 5 years to make a game.
Mm-hmm.
We need maximum effort.
Yep.
And we need for you guys to actually put in 100% of what you're going to make and how you're going to do it. We're going to back you up.
Yeah.
We're going to give you the money. We're going to give you the tools.
Yep.
We're going to give you everything you need. But you guys need to hit that 3 to 5 year mark. If you come in at 4 years and say, hey, dude, this game's done.
Mm-hmm.
There's no glitches.
Mm-hmm.
Go play it for a month and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
And they come back and say, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that could totally redo the gaming industry.
Yeah.
People wait 8-10 years for a game.
Oh, I know.
And it kills us.
Look at Grand Theft Auto.
Kills us.
And then you got other developers making a game every year, but I'm not gonna get into that argument right now.
We've gone into Destiny to Destiny 2 for so many times.
Yeah.
Destiny 2 shouldn't even exist.
Yeah.
They should be 2 years out from making a Destiny 2 right now.
Now would be a good time to come out
You know
with
what I
a new
mean?
one, yeah.
But with GTA 5, it's all the updates,
Yep.
new missions,
Yeah.
new
It's
stuff.
like stop updating the game
gets-
and make a new one.
It gets old. I don't even have it on my hard drive anymore.
I know.
My dude asked me to play it. I'm like, dude, I don't even have
Yeah.
it. I don't even play it.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
it's a letdown because GTA was huge.
Yeah.
But GTA 6 is so far along that it's
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
with Cyberpunk
I
too.
think they're going to surprise us. I think this year we have a lot going on this year. So real quick side note, Cyberpunk lost 76% of the players that originally started playing last year. 76% of the people do not play Cyberpunk anymore.
Wow.
That, in terms of millions, that is insane. 10 million people play Cyberpunk. 10 million people bought Cyberpunk. Let's just say it. That's 7.6 million people that don't play Cyberpunk anymore. That's a huge hit. You ain't getting that 76. You maybe get 10% back.
Do you think that's because they don't have multiplayer?
No, I think the game's broken.
They are talking about multiplayer, but how are you going to? And that's the thing that
It's too late.
when they lose people like that, like you said,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
huge number
Yeah.
to lose.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to get people interested in your game again
Mhm.
after it has already died out that much,
Yeah.
that's difficult.
It's over, man. This could be the biggest rollout failure. I'd argue with you there. Google Stadia may be the biggest rollout failure, but for games,
He's gonna say Google Stadia what? I'll have to tell him about Google Stadia and let him know. I'll show him your YouTube video on all that stuff.
I will say Halo Master Chief Collection was basically this. Halo 4 was out and Halo Master Chief Collection came out, and it was a massive game that was like everyone was waiting for this new Halo to come out because it had Halo 2, 3, all the Halos combined into one. And I won't go on a tangent here, but real quick, everyone was excited. It was a November 10th rollout. People lined up at the door. They got the game for about a week and a half. It was so bad. It needed updates every few hours. You couldn't find a match. You were getting kicked off the servers. That 10 days ruined that game, and it never, ever recovered. It probably went from, 1 million people playing that game to less than 50,000, and it stayed less than 50,000 until the next Halo came out. So a failure like this is massive, and from what I have seen with Stadia, with Master Chief Collection, and any other game that failed right off the gates, it never came back. No matter what they did. Mm-mm.
The biggest failure for me and the biggest letdown, and you'll agree, is the Avengers game.
Yeah.
That has like less than 1,000 people playing it right now.
Yeah.
That is awful.
I know.
That is terrible.
They must just chalk it up.
Chalk it up.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. Give people refunds because it's really not that much money you're handing back out.
Yep.
Dude, that's...
Yeah.
And it's such a blow because people are like, dude, after the movies, they're going to have a game come out. And it just...
Mm-hmm.
It was a huge bomb.
Yeah.
Huge bomb.
Yep.
And I feel bad. for them because
Yeah.
that could have been something big.
Yeah.
But it didn't.
So, yes, long story short, Microsoft's making the right moves right now. Sony, I think they're going to catch on, and they're probably in talks to start purchasing other ones, but if they don't start doing something soon, they're going to fall way too far behind, and Microsoft will just dominate. And Nintendo is starting to purchase up studios as well.